In the top stories, police continue election guidelines sensitization campaign. Credit score to be used as launch of ECCU Credit Bureau, and Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss through to final round of UK PM race. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today's Thursday, the 21st of July, 2022. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force continued its sensitization campaign on Thursday of the rules, guidelines and laws that govern elections as the Federation moves closer to the 2022 general elections. During ZIZ Radio's program, Policing with You, Sergeant Marvin Thompson examined some of the Election Day offenses found in the National Assembly Elections Act. While referencing the act, he said it's an offense for persons to attempt to influence voters while the polls are open.
The National Assembly's Election Act, Chapter 2.01, Section 93, specifically speaks to influencing of any voter for any candidate. It reads, during the hours that the poll is open upon polling day, no person shall, upon any public road or in any public place within 100 yards or just about 300 feet of any building in which a polling station is situated, seek to influence any voter to vote for any candidate or to ascertain for what candidate any voter intends to vote or has voted.
He noted that the penalty for this offense is a fine of $500 EC, 6 months imprisonment, or both. Sergeant Thompson also said that there should be no selling of alcohol on polling day and these establishments should be closed. He said employers should give employees a reasonable time to exercise their franchise and there should be no penalty to the employee for going to vote.
Every employer is supposed to allow the employees reasonable time to go and vote and come back. And there should be no deduction of any salary or any penalties for that period of time that the person is allowed to go and vote. So if reasonable time, depending on where the person is voting, turns out to be 4 hours or half a day, the employer cannot determine that they will deduct that amount from the person's salary or wage because the person does not work. That is an offense. The penalty for that is $5,000 or imprisonment for 6 months.
Sergeant Thompson also stated that offenses committed by polling officers are high court matters.
If the presiding officer or poll clerk permits any person who they know or they have reasonable cause to believe that that person is not properly registered, but for some reason they allow that person to vote, the polling officer has committed an offense. And maybe it is because of the responsibility that the polling officer has, but the penalty for that is a committed offense against the act, and on conviction, on indictment, that means that is what we would say a high court matter. No, we're talking indictment, that is for the polling clerk. Liable to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years.
The 2022 general elections are slated for Friday, August 5. The St. Kitts Tourism Authority sales team from the United States and the United Kingdom returned to the destination for the first time since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic for a familiarization trip, which included visits to attraction sites and hotel properties. With travel on the rebound, the aim of the familiarization trip was to update the sales team with the tourism product and to foster and strengthen relationships with local tourism stakeholders, according to a release from the Tourism Authority. In addition, the visit provided opportunities for the team to explore new products and services, which is quote-unquote vital in creating a real-time experience. The Visit also served to prepare them to promote and sell the destination more efficiently during this post-COVID era. The sales team interacts with travel agents, wedding planners, meeting and incentive buyers, tour operators, wholesalers, online travel agencies and consumers to create demand and drive business to the Federation, contributing to the success of the team's marketing efforts. In other news, the Department of Youth Summer Residential Camp kicked off at the Beach Allen Primary School on Monday with youth between the ages of 8 and 16 years. The 7-day camp is designed to help develop into productive leaders who positively contribute to national development and has resumed after a 2-year hiatus due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The 37th annual camp is being held under the theme, "Your image is your brand, so let's create good impressions." Summer Camp 37, full of hope and positive expressions. Director of the Department of Youth Empowerment, Pierre Liebert, is quoted as saying, "You'll be experiencing a full week of family fellowship, friendship, health, physical, emotional, and skills development while having a good time in a safe, fun, and disciplined environment." The summer residential camp runs from July 18 to 25. Moving now to news on the regional scene. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank's Credit Bureau will be rolled out in December this year. This will mean a credit score is to be assigned to each person seeking a loan in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, an arrangement being used elsewhere in the region and the world. The central bank is now moving to sensitize stakeholders about the imminent Credit Bureau. Ursel Charles Jr. reports.
The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank's Credit Bureau is promised to make lending and borrowing easier within the sub-region. A major feature will be the analysis of data, which will assign a credit score to all prospective loan seekers. This will alert lending agencies, banks and credit unions, for example, if you make a good candidate for a loan. Van Ryder of Credit Info ETCB Limited explains how it will work.
It takes all of the information from the report, so the subject data, the past inquiries, contracts, collaterals, etc., runs it through a scoring engine, and then calculates the probability of default based on analytics included. So it'll say, for an example, the classification is from an E3 on the left, which is a very low score and a very high risk, or classified all the way to a very low risk, which is a very high score, and that's where you really want to be.
Ryder further explains that lending agencies may use the score as part of their risk analysis.
Well, they may say that any borrower that has a credit score of E1, E2, or E3, which is extremely high risk and has a probability of default in excess of 50%, is a straight decline.
The report will use lenders' information from the last 7 years to compare the credit score, and Riders offers assistance on how you may improve your score.
You need to consistently and on time make payments of your credit obligations, have a long and diverse credit history, maintain low to medium credit balances, limit the number of loans during a given period, check your credit profile annually, at least, dispute any incorrect information, and then take ownership and manage your own profile responsibly.
Conversely, if you maintain a high credit balance and often make late payments, your score will be negatively impacted. The system, which forms part of the ECCB's Credit Bureau, will be launched officially in December this year. For ABS News, I'm Ursel Charles Jr.
The Grenadian Cabinet has authorized $1 million subvention from National Lottery Authority to the Spice Mass Corporation. Here's more.
Following a 2-year break due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Carnival 2022 is well on its way. The Spice Mass Corporation will be in receipt of $1 million from the National Lottery Authority to assist with its expenditure in organizing its 2022 Carnival activities. Such a hefty sum has made NLA become the only diamond sponsor of the annual Carnival celebration. Minister of State with responsibility for youth and sport in the Ministry of Education, Youth, Sport and Culture, Honorable Ron Redhead, made the announcement during Tuesday's post-cabinet briefing.
The Spice Mass Corporation to host a successful Spice Mass 2022. The injection is to the tune of $1 million, and we believe that this injection will be vital to ensure that, in fact, Spice Mass is successful this year.
He explained that the money will be used to offset the cost of Carnival budget as prepared by the SMC and submitted to the Cabinet.
SMAS did prepare a budget to which government has looked at and made the disbursement from the level of NLE. So as it relates to what specifically it will be spent on, it was outlined in a budget.
Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell further explained that the money from the NLA is given in the form of a subvention from one statutory body to another.
It's the National Lotteries Authority. So just to be clear, what Cabinet has agreed to do is to authorize the National Lotteries Authority to give a subvention of $1 million to the Spicemas Corporation.
It was reported that the budget for the 2022 Carnival celebrations is EC $2.6 million. Apart from the subvention received from the NLA, funding will also be obtained through sponsorship from corporate bodies that will choose the platinum, gold, silver and bronze categories, gate receipts and fees. With the launch of Carnival already taken place since May, activities will culminate on August 10th, 2022. Chrislina John, GBN News.
Internationally, former Finance Minister Rishi Sunak and Foreign Secretary Liz Truss will battle it out to become Britain's next Prime Minister after they won the final vote among Conservative Party MPs, setting up the last stage of the contest to replace former leader Boris Johnson. Al Jazeera's Jonah Hull reports.
Therefore, Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss will be the candidates going forward.
Conservative Party MPs have spoken. Now grassroots members will decide whether former Chancellor Rishi Sunak or Foreign Secretary Liz Truss should go on to be party leader and Britain's next Prime Minister. Both are divisive characters. Both have the experience of high office. Truss promises what she calls a truly conservative economic agenda, tax cuts and a hike in defence spending.
I'm the person who can go into number 10, I can hit the ground running and I can get things done.
Sunak says he'll stabilise the economy, ease the cost of living crisis and win the next election.
The question now for our members is, who is the best person to defeat Keir Starmer and the Labour Party at the next election? I believe I'm the only candidate who can do that.
And there's a further distinction between the two. While Liz Truss is seen as the candidate most likely to continue Boris Johnson's brand of populist politics, Rishi Sunak isn't popular in Downing Street, where he's seen as having betrayed Johnson, earning him the distrust of party members. A poll of those very party members who will elect the next Prime Minister suggests that Liz Truss is far more likely to win than Rishi Sunak. Before the focus shifted to a very